Hey everybody, Manny Talavera. We're now on day 11 of the seven-figure climb, and we are running a few days behind. I apologize again. I've been a little bit sick. If you're watching us for the first time, the seven-figure climb is all about going from zero to 300 to $1 million in 365 days or less. We are going to do this live. We're going to be showing you on a day-to-day basis every single thing that we are doing. And we're going to hopefully you can copy us, take ideas from what we're doing, and you can run with those. And in the meantime, we're also going to give you tips, tricks, ideas. I'm going to constantly be sharing information on how you can do this as well. From my studying marketing over 15,000 hours. Now, again, like I said, we are a few days behind. And do me a huge favor, if you're watching this for the first time, hit the like button. Hit subscribe to the channel, and also hit that bell notification so that you will get notified, because generally we are going to be going out with a new video every single day. So we're going to drop videos for 365 days, and in some cases we will be running a day or two behind like today, but we are going to give you a lot of tips, tricks, and insights here. And so when I originally came up with this plan, the plan was actually to show you everything that I'm doing, show it to you all live, and then give you all the ideas and you could basically copy what we're doing as far as the marketing and the strategies and all of those things. But I also, over time, I've been thinking about this, and I would be remiss if I didn't give you a lot of tips, tricks, and tools as well along the way, because like I said, I've learned a lot from doing all of these things. And so today we're going to talk about marketing assets. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over a lot of the marketing assets I feel that, are extremely valuable. And what I want you to do is I want you to gauge, do you have this marketing asset in your toolbox? And what I want you to do is make a list of all the marketing assets you have. If you go back to day 3, I went through all of my marketing assets. And on day 4, we went through the liabilities, or the things that are slowing me down. And the reason I'm so confident that we're going to make it is based on the marketing assets that I have developed in doing this. And, I can tell you, as a marketing coach, when I do strategy sessions, all that I'm doing is I'm asking marketing asset questions. I'm basically getting someone on a call and trying to determine if I can help that person. And the way I determine if I can help them is I look at what assets they have, what assets they don't have, what assets can we develop, and what assets do they have already that we can expand on. So if they have assets that we can expand on, that's great. And if they don't have marketing assets that they need, we can develop those and we can help them that way. And so that's what I want you to think about. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go through a bunch of marketing assets and tell you what I think is valuable. And then what we're going to do is we're going to tell you the ones I feel. I'm going to kind of go back through this list, and I'm going to tell you the ones that I feel are the most important. And so first, marketing assets are skills that you have learned. The great thing about skills that you have learned is you get to keep them forever. No one can ever take those away from you. So I've studied marketing over 15,000 hours. I've worked with over 300 clients in marketing, doing coaching, and I've created 80 courses. Those things are skills that I've developed by doing them over and over and over. And any skills that you have developed, the great thing is you get to take them with you into everything that you do. No, they can't take those away from you. The next thing is an email list or email lists. If you have an email list, that's extremely valuable. That's going to really help you moving forward. Some of you will have many, many lists. And then the next thing is buyers lists, because a buyer is a buyer is a buyer, and a person who has bought from you one time will buy from you over and over and over again. So as people buy from you, you will develop buyers lists, and those are going to be extremely valuable. The next thing is audiences. So do you have an audience on Facebook? Do you have a private Facebook group? Do you have an audience on Twitter? Do you have an audience on YouTube? Audiences are extremely valuable. Audiences and email lists are extremely valuable. And if you don't have those yet, those are things that you need to develop. Now, I can tell you, you hear me over and over saying that, my Facebook group is dead. I'm not making any money from it. I'm not going to get any value from that. And that's the truth. But I can tell you that a private Facebook group with 3 or 5,000 in it can make you millions of dollars, because they don't throttle Facebook groups with 3 or 5,000 in them. There are people out there who have 3 or 5,000 people in 3 or 5,000 in a Facebook group, and they get 50,000 times more reach than I get. And so my problem is I scaled the group too big, and now Facebook will not share traffic out to it. But there are people out there who develop smaller groups that do really well. And so when you're thinking about audiences, you want to think about a Facebook group. You also want to think about your personal Facebook page, which tends to get a lot of reach also. And so if you've got a good group of people on Facebook who are following you and could be buyers, that can be valuable. The next marketing asset is courses that you've created. So if you've created any courses or you've done anything in the marketplace up to now, that's going to be a marketing asset. And the next thing that's a huge marketing asset, we're going to talk about it more at the end, is a proof of concept. Now, we talked about a proof of concept yesterday, and a proof of concept is two things. Number one, it's that you've developed something that people are willing to buy, and they've given you money for it. So you've created a commercial product that people are willing to pay for. And then number two, you've demonstrated that you're able to sell it, because there's a lot of people who create great products, but they can't sell them. And there are a lot of great sellers who create something that no one wants to buy. And so a proof of concept is, one, you have something people have demonstrated they will buy, and two, you've demonstrated you have the ability to sell it. But we're going to move forward. Now, the next thing we're going to talk about, we're just going to lump all of this together, and that's infrastructure. And infrastructure is ClickFunnels, GetResponse, Kajabi, PayPal or Stripe, Calendly, Camtasia, PowerPoint, a YouTube channel. You might be using Go High Level. You might be using Kartra. And so any of these things that you have developed that you're already using, you already have set up, is essentially a marketing asset. And what you want to think about when you're thinking about infrastructure, whatever your vehicle is, do you have the ability to get that vehicle out to the marketplace really, really fast? And all of this infrastructure gives you the ability to do that. And that's what you want to think about. And so, how much of this infrastructure do you have? Do you have enough of it to get something out to the marketplace really, really quick? The next thing we're going to talk about is vehicle or vehicles that you can sell. And so when we talk about scaling, we got vehicle, audience, and offer. What is your vehicle? What is the thing that you're going to sell? Do you have something that you can sell right now, or do you still have to develop that? The vehicle is extremely important. So if you don't have the vehicle yet, you do need to develop that. You need to figure that out, what that's going to be. Whether it's going to be a course, a coaching program, it could be a modulated course where they're getting content on a Monday and live Q&A on Thursday, which is kind of a hybrid of coaching and courses. But what you want to think about here is, what is the vehicle that's going to get you there? Even if it's not even internet marketing related, the question is, do you have that developed already? Do you have something ready to sell? And the next thing we're going to talk about is charisma. So do you have charisma, self-esteem, and self-confidence? Charisma, self-esteem, and self-confidence are different. So the first thing you have to answer is, do you have charisma? Can you hold someone's attention? That's it's not my definition of charisma, but that's what I'm looking at. And so, do you have are you interesting? Do people like to hear you tell stories, right? That's what you've got to think about. And the more people like that, essentially the more charisma you have. Are you magnetic to people? Like Russell Brunson's fairly magnetic, Dan Kennedy's magnetic, Frank Kern, extremely magnetic. And what you want to look at is, do you have that? Or can you develop that? And then what is your level of that? Is it really high, or is it low, or is it something you need to work on? And then, of course, self-confidence and self-esteem, those things do need to be developed. You've got to build that. and you can be low on one, high on the other, vice versa. But essentially, are those marketing assets that you're possessing now? And then the next thing is connections or contacts. So you can have an email list, you can have a list of buyers, but do you have contacts or connections who can help you to scale, who can help you to build this thing, who can answer questions? I can tell you, one of the things that I'm very, very fortunate about is I have developed a decent amount of people who I can reach out to if I have questions, if I need help. And these people are way further up the food chain than me. And that's the other thing. When we're talking about contacts and connections, we're talking about people who maybe have been there and done that. So they've already sold what you're wanting to sell, or they've been in the marketplace longer. Unfortunately, I've been able to develop a lot of that. And so that's another thing that you need to think about. Now, the next thing, and we talked about this, I think, a couple of times now, is money or runway. Remember, in order to do this whole thing, you need money or runway to do it. You need to basically create something that you're going to scale with Facebook ads or Google ads or wherever your YouTube ads, or where you're going to spend the money. But you have to have the money to do that. And so you have to either have the money or have the ability to get the money. The more runway you have, the more likely you are to be able to see this thing to fruition. And I can tell you, most people, they don't succeed because they're either scared or they just don't have the money to get started. And that's the reason building that infrastructure of an audience in the beginning somewhere where you can sell these people something is extremely important, because what happens when you do that, you get your proof of concept, and you also get the money to scale ads. And so that's extremely important. The next thing is, if you don't have, you can have money and runway. Another really important marketing asset is things that you can quickly turn into money. And so you might not have money or runway right now, but you have a few things that you can quickly turn into money. And it can be things that you can sell. It can be assets that you're not underutilized assets that you're not using. It can be things laying around that you've collected. Like when I bought my pool room, I sold it limousine. I had a Cadillac Fleetwood limousine, and we sold that. It was an asset that I used, that I converted to money in order to buy the pool room. So you might have assets that you're going to need to convert to money in order to run ads to get to the 7 figures. And that's what you want to think about here. Now, the next thing is marketing knowledge. The bottom line is you can't have too much of this. The more marketing knowledge you have, the better off you're going to be. And then the thing after that is an ability to market and sell. And we talked about the proof of concept, but are you confident in your ability to market? Are you confident in your ability to sell? How do you feel about those things? Because I can tell you, money doesn't come from creating anything. Money comes from marketing and selling it. You've got to have the ability to do those things. Without those things, no matter what you create, you're going to struggle. And that's what I want you to think about here. And the next thing we're going to talk about is willingness to invest. And so, how much have you invested up to now? So what has been your investment up to now? And then and that investment includes both time and money. And so how much time have you put into this thing? How much money have you put into this thing? What I have found is people who put very, very little time into something, they don't have really much of a willingness to invest a lot of time or a lot of money into it. The more time you put into something, the more you have the more you want to really see it to the end. Like you pass the point of no return, and you're very, very invested because you put a lot of time into it. And the other thing about that, the other equation there is investment. Are you willing to make a major investment? And what I want you to think about is you're not going to get there without a major investment. Now, you can find the money, you can go out and get the money, but you're going to have to be willing to make a major investment to do this. You can't you can't build $1 million asset without infrastructure, and that infrastructure is going to include some things that are going to cost money. And what that leads to is your willingness to take on debt, be in debt, understand debt. And what I have seen is there are a lot of people who they're just not at that level. They don't want debt. They don't want to borrow money. They wouldn't borrow $50 to build a $1 million business. And what I want you to think about when we're talking about all of this, if you're wanting to build a business that generates millions of dollars, you're wanting to build a real business. Real businesses require debt. They require taking on debt and doing it, like doing whatever you got to do to get the money. And if you look at people who are doctors, lawyers, and people like that, what did they do to become that person? Most of those people got $300,000 or $400,000 in student loans, and some people got more. So what you want to think about is those people were willing to go into debt because they know that asset's going to pay off long term. And then the other thing that you need to think about, and no one really thinks about it, if you go to the major highway in your area and you drive down it and you see McDonald's, Wendy's, Burger King, Arby's, you see all of these franchise locations. Those franchise locations, that I can tell you in a lot of cases, don't make someone $1 million a year. Those were bought with hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt. And some of those places were bought with millions of dollars in debt. And so, what you want to think about is if a person puts up a McDonald's, right? They go in debt $3 or $4 or $5 million to do that. And that business is going to do maybe $2 million to $5 million a year, and they're going to keep 10%. If they've got a 10% drop to the bottom line, they're going to make $200,000 to $500,000 a year from that asset. But they went $2 to $5 million in debt to do that in some cases. Those things are not inexpensive. And so what you got to do here is you got to develop the mindset that you're willing to do what it takes, and whatever it takes. The question is, are you willing to trade $100,000 for $1 million? Are you willing to be in debt $50,000 to make $500,000? And you got to gauge yourself there, and you got to change the way you look at debt. And most people just don't look at debt the right way. And the last thing we're going to talk about is being a startup, being a setup versus a startup. And so a startup is a person with an idea who hasn't made any money yet, or they've made very, very little. And a setup is a business that is an ongoing concern. They're making revenue, they're bringing in something, they've got a proof of concept, and they're moving along, but they're wanting to scale. And so, like, a huge asset is going from being a startup to being a setup. And a setup might not be making that much money, but they do have an offer. They're developing a list, they're developing customers, they're developing buyers, and they're basically developing the assets that they would need to build that thing to $1 million business. And so what you want to do is go through this list and gauge yourself and say, what do I have? What do I need? And I can tell you, this isn't all of them, but this will give you a really, really good idea. I think, like, if I was going to go through these lists and tell you the most important things, I would say proof of concept is extremely important. Email list, audiences, those things are important. Infrastructure, everything that you need to get this thing off the ground is going to be an infrastructure, and those things are important. Charisma, self-esteem and self-confidence, runway, extremely important. And also, moving from startup to setup, and then changing the way you view debt if you're scared to borrow. So how you got to look at it, and I'll tell you how, I'm going to show you how to check yourself. This is how to check yourself if you're really into this and ready to move forward. And when someone presents a $5,000 opportunity to you, are you wigged out by that? Are you freaked out? Are you scared? Are you emotional about it? If you're emotional about it in any way, shape, or form, you're not a business owner yet. And a business owner either A, says, this makes sense. It's going to help me to scale. It's going to help me to grow. It's an asset that I need. It's going to improve me in some way, and it financially makes sense. I'm going to invest in that. Or B, I either don't need it or I'm not ready for it yet. It's a yes or a no, but you shouldn't be emotionally tied to it. And so the problem is when you have that emotional reaction, because I can tell you, doctors and dentists didn't have an emotional reaction to basically taking out student loans. And when the guy bought the McDonald's and he went in and signed the lease and he signed all the paperwork and he borrowed $1 million, there wasn't an emotional reaction to that because he's buying something, he's investing in something that's going to make a lot of money. And so you can say yes or no to an investment when someone offers to sell you something, but if you're having an emotional reaction to it, that's something you really need to think about. So what we're going to do is we're going to end out. I hope you all got some value from this. Please do me a favor, like, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification so you get notified every time we release a video. We're going to try and do these every day. We are running a few days behind. We are going to get caught up here, and we've got a lot we're working on. We got a lot coming up in the next 2 weeks or so, but I appreciate you all being here, and I will see you all in the next video, and thanks a lot.